Here you go. Okay, how much time do we have? Do we have time to send her a quick note?
You know, I've seen you 30 times, but I don't know your name. Bartholomew? Huh? Bill Bartholomew? Now I know your name. Of course, there's about a 50-50 chance I'll forget it. People, I had one call me today, they do this, you know. Hi, I saw you in 2017 with my father. Do you remember me? Vaguely remember your last name. I can't tell you what I had for dinner 3 nights ago, you know? What time is it? 50 what? Okay, well, we're getting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes?
Wes, how about if I do the mourners Kaddish and the announcement for the mourners? Typically, we'll do the list them at the end.
You want to do it? You can do it.
And we typically don't list all the Misha Barracks on Friday night.
I'm going to.
That's fine. We do them on Saturday.
Look, I've had people sick. I'd do it.
Okay.
But you can do the mourner
That's
stuff.
fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Yeah, sure. Come on up when time comes.
Yeah. And that halfway is, I think, page 3. Yeah.
Whatever. He wants to do the mourner Scottish. I just thought it. He said, well, typically you don't read the names out on the healing. I said, well, you know, if I had somebody sick, I'd want to hear it. So the question is, what time the 6 o'clock service starts?
Is it Jewish time?
We do have a minion.
We have more people.
And more people coming. I'm going to wait till, if I see anybody walking, I'll wait. Oh, it's only my wife.
How good. Before you start the
Huh?
She's here on time.
Come on up, Mick. I have some good news tonight, Mickey. Part of the onig is caprese salad. My wife loves caprese salad. Ready when you are, Arlene. Ready? Let me look to see if anybody's just walking in. I always hate to be like walking halfway and they start.
Give me a second to light the candles.
You don't see anybody? Shabbat Shalom. For those that you don't know me, my name is Stephen Gross. I'm part of a group of volunteers who are handling the religious services until the rabbi comes on August 1. And I couldn't do any part of a service. Really, as far as the service, you're relying on Arlene and Anthony and Michael. I'm the one that gives you the page numbers. But I did want to share a few things with you. Friday night was traditionally at Agudas Achim, Friday night with family and friends. And then COVID came. And for a while we didn't have any services at all. Then rabbis came and rabbis went, and we're a little bit disjointed. And our goal the next 2 months is to bring back the Friday night service and have you have a group of Friday night friends. Had a bad day, had a bad year, had problems with your family, had problems with your banker, forget about it for a week or so. For an hour or so, you'll be relaxed. Just share the songs with us, sing, chant, come early, schmooze during services. After services, you'll have a little nosh back there, schmooze some more. So please be part of the Friday night Agudas Achim family. Now I'm going to turn it over to Arlene.
We'll start with our Nigun. And the only thing you have to know is Ya la 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 and Shabbat Shalom. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, la la la, ya la la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la.
Please turn to page 5 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu boachem lishalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu Parhuni lishalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu Tzedchem lishalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu.
If we could have the women come up and join us for the candle blessing, we'd appreciate it. Mickey?
I didn't need the book. Okay.
Joni?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner v'tzivanu lahadlik ner v'tzivanu lahadlik ner Shabbat Shalom.
Tell you all to be seated, but I forgot to tell you all the rest of the lives. Please turn to page 11 for Lahuna Ranana.
Lechuniranina, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranina, 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 ladonai. Naria, naria, litzui shenu nikad bafana bitoda. Naria, naria, litzui shenu bizbirot naria lo. Lechuniranina, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranina, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranina, 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 ladonai. Lechuniranina, 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 ladonai.
If you would please turn to page 18 for Zamru Ladonai.
Zamru ladonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar. Hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai. Zamru ladonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot b'kol shofar. Hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai. Yiram hayam umelo, tevel veyoshveva. Neharot yimachaochav yakad hariranenu. Yiram hayam umelo, tevel veyoshveva. Neharot yimachaochav yakad hariranenu. Lifnei Adonai kiva, lishpot haaretz, לשפוט תבל בצדק ואמים במישרים ירם הים ומלואו תבל ויושביה נהרות עמך וחד יחד ערים ירננו.
Good to see you again. We missed you the last couple of weeks. If y'all would turn to page 20 for Romamu.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו.
I'm holding out for 2 more to show up. Then we'll have as many people who came after we started as when we started. If y'all would please rise for Mizmor LaDavid on 21.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו ישתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. כל אדוני המים אל הכבוד הרים. אדוני על מים רבים. כל אדוני ככוח כל אדוני בהדר. כל אדוני שובר ארזים ושבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון לסריון כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני חוצה לעבוד אש. כל אדוני יכיל מדבר. יכיל אדוני מדבר קדיש. כל אדוני יכולל לעלות ויחשוף ירון ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למה בו ישב וישב. אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן. אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. Ya
y'all would please be seated. Arlene and Orit do different verses. Arlene's going to tell you we're doing Lahado D on 23 to 25, but she'll tell you which
Yes.
verses.
So the first two verses on page 23, the middle verse on page 24, and the last verse on page 25.
And when we get to the last verse, if y'all would all rise and face the door.
Likadodi, likrat kala, pinei Shabbat, nikabela, shamor v'zachor, b'dibur echad, ishmianu, El HaMeyuchad Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shemu Tiferet V'Heliti La L'Echad Odi Likrat Kala Pinei Shabbat Nikabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila lehekadodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat Nikabela Hitorari Kiva Orech Kumi Ori Uri Shir Deberi Kivod Adonai Alayik Nikla Lehekadodi Likrat Kala Pinei Shabbat Nikabela Boi v'shalom Ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha Uv'tzola Toch emunei Am segula Boi chala Lechadodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat Nikabela.
Please be seated. Please turn to page 27 for Mizmor Shir.
Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov lehodot lahadonai Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov lehodot lahadonai Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Ulizamer l'shimcha elyon Lahagid baboker chastecha V'emunatcha balelot Alei asar ve'alei navel Alei gayon
Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Back from New York, I see. If y'all would please turn to page 28 for Tzadi Katamar.
Tzadi Katamar Yivrach Ke'erez Bavanon Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrihu Ojenuvun Beseva Deshenim Vera'ananim Iyu Lahagid Ki Ashar Adonai Aitzuri Velo the bottom of page 29. Erotecha ne'emunu me'od lehevercha na'ahava kodesh Adonai la'orech yamim.
Phil, Dr. Landis is going to come up and lead us for the first Mourner's Kaddish.
Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So on page 30, we'll turn to Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish. All those who are in mourning and observing Yortzeit, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha, b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'yalma, v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. You may be seated. Turn it back to Steve.
I can officially say that we've had more members show up after we started service than before. I feel like we're at the San Antonio Spurs game. For the Devar tonight, we're going to discuss the portion of the week, Shalach Laha, which basically means to rise up and come. It's much like the earlier portion, Lech Laha. This portion this week is a very interesting one. If any of you regularly go to Torah study, you will remember this portion because it's one of the half dozen or so after the flood that everybody remembers. This is the portion known in the vernacular, this is the spies portion. So what happens in this portion is God tells Moses to tell the people of Israel to assemble a group of spies who are going to go and spy on the land of Canaan. And he assembles a group of spies. It's read one from each tribe. So there's a total of 12. This isn't the main question, but I'm going to raise something that I hope we'll discuss more tomorrow in the Torah study, which we'll have after lunch tomorrow. And by the way, if you have any questions about what I'm saying or criticisms or whatever, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, there's not a problem. So the first question that occurred to me when I read the first part is why God had to tell the Israelites to go spy on Canaan. He certainly, being omniscient, could check it out for himself. He certainly, being omniscient, could tell the Israelites, when you go over there, avoid this city, this is a soft spot, these are nice guys and these are the bad guys. So the question is why God chose to ask Moses to ask the people to spy. Yes, sir. Are they what? They're obedient in the sense that they went. I'll let you at the end of this story decide how obedient they really are. But they went. You know, you could very, very well say that they're passive aggressive. So I want to tell you also that this very same story is replicated, not surprisingly, in Deuteronomy. And one of the things, if you regularly go to Torah study, that you find interesting is when they get to a story, you compare the two and see how they're the same and see how they're different. So, for instance, as most of y'all know, the 10 Commandments are not the same from the earlier part of the Torah to Deuteronomy. And you could sit down there and look and see where they're different. And in Deuteronomy, God doesn't tell Moses. Moses takes it on himself and asks. Because I think, one, they wanted to take care of this problem. Why would God have to tell them? And two, they didn't like Moses all that much in Deuteronomy anyway. It was an Aaronite book from the priestly class. So the spies go into Canaan, and they're told to pick some fruit, and they're going to bring back some figs and some pomegranates and some grapes. And the replication of that is on the symbol for the country Israel, where you see a big mast with fruits on it. But when they get back, 10 of the 12 spies say, oh, you got to know, we can't make it. We can't do it. The walls are thick, the people are fierce, and in fact, there are giants in that land. the Anakites, which were mentioned earlier in Genesis. Whoa, what would we do if we went? We'd all be killed. Moses, why did you take us out of Israel just to die? We should have just died in Egypt. This is horrible. Now, the interesting thing is that's 10 out of 12. 2 of them go, no, 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 no. One of them is Joshua, and one of them is Caleb. And they say, quite properly, look, if God wants us to die, we're going to die. And if God wants us to live, it doesn't matter what they look like, because we will overcome. So the Israelites nevertheless keep shrieing and wailing and say they're going to die. And God punishes them by saying, okay, none of you, except for Caleb and Joshua, are going to see the promised land. We're going to wander around long enough for all of you to die. And when we get to the promised land, Joshua will be there and Caleb will be there, and nobody else. Now, it's interesting because we have a book named Joshua. By tradition, he wrote that and several other books. But you never hear much about Caleb. I guess he's the second in the command of the group. But you hear all about Joshua. Another interesting part of this portion is the fact that in the middle of this portion, we find out that Moses changed Joshua's name, and his name wasn't originally Joshua. And why is that? What was his name? You'll have to come to the Torah study tomorrow to find out. But the question I really have today, now that I've told you the portion, is what is it we get from the Torah? As you know, Torah means instruction. Is the Torah a history of our people? Is the Torah a religious book to give us our 613 rules and all the other things and all the other do's and don'ts? Or is it somewhere in between? And why was this story put into the Torah? Is there a message here for us? Or did we just get a good family story about what Grandpa did back in the Ukraine? So do y'all think there is a message that we're supposed to learn from this portion or this story?
Not always are the voice of the people, the voice of the people.
Anybody else have any ideas? Yes, sir? A little louder. So what you're telling me is you think if all 12 came back and said, we're good to go, God wouldn't have made them do it? Or are you telling me that they had to have the 40 years because they had a slave mentality?
Basically, in that time, they had that slave mentality. And because they thought slaves, they're going to act as free people.
So God set them up to fail. They're not even Jewish people at this point. They're Israelites. Anybody else have any comments?
It says send for yourself.
I'm sorry, what?
It says send for yourself. Shabbat l'chad.
Yes.
Not for me, but for you. If you want to do it, do it.
Except that God instructs them to it. He says, if you want to go, but God's the one that that set this up to start with. God could have said, stayed silent, not said anything at all. Yes, ma'am. It reminds me of the story of Nadab and Abidah. Do I have that right? It's a story when the Israelites hit the Red Sea and the river hadn't parted. And they all are afraid to go and get drowned. But Nadab had faith, and he started walking out. And once he started walking out, the river parted. It's a wonderful midrash. But you know, the truth of the matter is, it's not just in the Torah, and it's not just with Judaism. Every one of us has had issues in our life where we had to choose. Do we give up, or do we plow forward? Do we make the best of what we can, or do we just give up? So I really think that that's, for me, the message of this portion. Don't give up. Keep going. Charge. Maybe you'll win, maybe you'll lose, maybe you'll succeed, but at least you tried. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue with the Baruch Hu on page 39A.
Please rise.
Ma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimlach aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravi.
Page 40 for Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amchavta Torah u'mitzvot hukim u'mishpatim otanu lemadeta al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע ימם ולילה. יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 41.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך וכלפתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Page 44.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לבני משה. זה אלי, זה אלי, ענו ואמרו. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לבני משה. זה אלי, זה אלי, ענו ואמרו. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות עושה פלא. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות. Oh, say fella, oh, say fella, oh, say fella. נאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מי החזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
You turn to page 45, we'll just sing it. Sing.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמות צאתנו ופוענו לחיים השלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. העמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
If everyone would please rise, we're going to do Vishamru, and immediately thereafter we're going to do the Hatzi Kaddish. Just stay, if you would.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שפט וינפש, שפט וינפש Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam.
If you would remain standing for the silent Amidah, and when
We
you're
didn't do
through,
Yit Gadol yet.
huh?
We didn't do the Chatzi Kaddish yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yit Gadol v'Yit Kadash Shamei Rabbah B'yam ha'divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'yimaru Amen Yaheshmei Rabbah mivarach le'alamo le'amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalal shemei kudisha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush birchata v'nechemata da'amiram b'yama v'yimaru Amen. Now.
Told you I didn't know what I was doing. And if y'all would remain standing and do the silent Amidah. When you're through praying, just sit down.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. 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 Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav tasim shalom. V'tov be'enecha livarei et amcha Yisrael bechol et uvechol sha'a b'shalom mecha. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
In a minute, we'll be doing the healing prayer. The names the synagogue has received are Alan Waghalter, Art Donaldson, Barbara Argo, Beryl Smith, Carson Moser, Charlie Pruitt, Daniela Valdez Vasquez, Sophie Handler, Eileen Marin, Alna King, Gary Rosenthal, Joseph Godovan, Jill Testa, Carol Bloom Rumsey, Kimberly Lang, Lucy Jean Horowitz, Luke Morse, Maria Beck, Marion Braun, Mark Hermelin, Mary Young, Phil Zipkin Day, Robin Keller, Rosario Vasquez, Sarah Gabe Hart, Sarah Ibata, Sharon Abloh, Sharon Hermelin. Is there anybody else you could share with us in pain mentally or physically, or just like a little boost from the congregation? I'm sorry, what? Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? 3 justices on the Supreme Court. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
If you turn to page 54 for Kiddush Shalom, if it's your habit to rise. If it's your habit to seat, still be seated.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach hiruteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachonu v'yomechonu v'chayedero beit Yisrael, b'agalahu v'zman karev v'himaru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'ala bohal me'omaya, ויתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. ברכו לילה בין כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בימה וימרו. תתקבל צלות ההון ובוטהון דכל ישראל, קדם ובהון וישמעיה וימרו. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמעיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו. Amen.
Now, if all the males would join us over here for the prayer of the wine. Arlene's going to say it, but if y'all would join us. Come on up. Before you start, come on up. Come on up, come. See, I get a little license here because I'm leading the service. So, every week I'm going to do it in honor of somebody. So this week we're doing it in honor of me.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu zicharon lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'chata v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Would you like to? You want to do the l'chaim? It's grape juice. No? Okay.
What's your name? What's your name? You have a name?
It's grape juice.
I'm also doing in honor of David. If you would please turn to page 56 and rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, laten gedula v'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adam, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol ha'amonam, va'anachnu korim u'mishtacharim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamalchim Shehu note shamayim ve'yoser haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al ushkinatu zo begavhei meromim u'Eloheinu einot emet malkeinu efesulato kakatu betorato viedata hayom v'hashvevota elevavecha ki Adonai hua Elohim b'shamayim mima'al ve'al haaretz mitachat ein od v'nehemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad u'shemo
In a minute, we're going to do the Mourner's Kaddish, but I would like to say, David, I really liked your dance. If you'll come next week, when we do the Alanu, you can dance for us during the singing.
Awesome.
Dr. Landis is going to do the Mourner's Kaddish. We'll take both.
He's just
We're
pointing
easy.
to God.
Wait, dance away.
Yes, sir. So first, I'd like to just recall those in Shloshim. We'll remember Jeannie Rudd, wife of Harvey Rudd, Miriam Grossman, Philip Siegel, father of Jeff Siegel, Faye Swidler, mother of Bonnie Scott, and grandmother of Michael Scott. The Yortzites for the upcoming week, 25 June through 1 July, are Martha Bardos, Sam Balin, Michael H. Berger, Hannah Mindel Bornstein, Chuck Bowman, Frank Bresniak, Robin Brown, Adele Karsman, Marvin Dinesman, Samuel Freeman, Louis Sonny Friedman, Minnie Ruth Greenberg, Gil Holland, Howard Crowitz, Saul Levine, Alvin Lewis, Sherry Menlevitz, Morton Natishan, Doris Rose, Leanne Sorensen, Joel Tobin, Bernice Kessler Wesson. Are there any other Yortzites that I'm missing, or any others in mourning? All those in mourning and observing Yortzite may please rise, and we'll turn to page 58 for Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach, leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit daleb, v'yit halal, shmei kekudisha, b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma, v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. You may be seated. Thank you. A few announcements. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to Steve Gross for leading us, for going through the Parsha and giving us some words of wisdom. And thank you very much, Arlene, for carrying the service. Let's see. Thank you to the office staff for the small oneg that you're about to enjoy after services. It's particularly appetizing, I think you'll find. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some.
Thank you,
but
Anthony.
Yes, thank you so much, Anthony, Michael.
Thank you.
Add so much to our service. And all of you for being here. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So, a couple of announcements. Morning Minyan, Sunday at 9, weekdays at 7:30. People are traveling. Our numbers are a little low. If you're available, we'd very much appreciate your help in achieving a minyan to support those who are grieving and support each other. IPRS registration is now open. Early bird ends on 26 June. And we have an exciting year coming up, and some teachers are here tonight. Thank you. And I'm very exciting. Please contact Jessica in the office for enrollment information and to sign up. HPRS registration, the first day of school at Heinz Preschool HPS, August 15th, is quickly approaching. Now enrolling ages 6 weeks to 5 years. Please contact April Smith or the office for more information. We're continuing to accept submissions for the 5783 Book of Remembrance. Those Yortzeit books for the upcoming year. Please call the office or submit those forms. The 8th Annual Texas Kosher Barbecue Championship is resuming. Very exciting. 6th November. To register your team and to get more information, you can check our website or visit the Texas Kosher Barbecue Championship.com. Sisterhood Rummage Sale is also going to resume this year. We're accepting items on Tuesdays in the Gorinsky Family Social Hall from 9 to 12 or in the drop-off shed. For questions, please contact Karen Landis or Shelley Behrens. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to conclude. We're going to conclude
Bye,
with
Mickey.
the Don Olam on
Bye,
page
Mickey.
211. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, L'zeit Natzav, B'chefsako, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Livado Yimlok Nora, Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh B'tifara, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasav V'chefsako, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam, V'hu Echad, Ve'ein Sheni, Laham Shilo Lahachvira, Adon Olam, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'os V'hamizra, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasav V'chefsako, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Chai goali, v'tzorchev li be'et tzara adon olam, v'hu nisi umanos li, menakosi b'yom mekra adon olam, asher malah b'terem kol yitzir nifra, le'et nazav v'chefsako, azai malach shimo nikra adon olam, beyado avkid ruchi, be'et ishan va'ira adon olam, v'im ruchi geviati, Adonai le'velo ira adon olam, asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'et nasa b'chefsako, azai malach shimo nikra adon olam.
Nobody thanks Dr. Landis for being the wonderful host he is and for doing the morning Scottish, and I appreciate it, Bill. And go eat, schmooze, enjoy, instead of making this your early Friday evening.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So they're like, as they're playing guitar, I mean, it's like that, you know. But I was playing, the problem was at 7:10 in the morning, and it's in the country. So I was going to say, I and I would have played the night before, as always, being a musician, playing Saturday night until midnight or 1. So I really, you know, those Sundays I did. And so we're all standing there off to the side, you know, just like 10-piece band. How long ago was it? This was like anyway, and so you can imagine, you know, this particular Sunday there was like a horn section, and I'm standing there with some of the horn players. Yeah, the preacher, the pastor's talking, and the band's waiting in the wings to go back on. And like there was a big, I heard you at Braintree or whatever. Is that wind chimes? The chimes. Chimes? There was a big set of chimes behind me, and like I was standing there, and I was really tired, and I bumped it. I moved, and then went, you know, and then I panicked because like the pastor looked over at me, like there's like this big church of like, you know, I don't know how many people there. It's like 500 people, but there are. I'm not saying they're all looking, but it was making a noise. And so the worst case scenario is what I did is I reached over and tried to stop it, which made it worse because like you can't grab a hold of 20 wind chime or chime. I mean, it's like it just went. They made it louder.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
what are you gonna do?
what are you gonna do? Exactly right. Oh, it's just one of those rough moments. Phil's the guy.
Yes, sir.
No, I can't.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry you.
What are you talking about? Did great. Thank you very much. Well done, Stephen.